Sai Ram. One of the hazards of trying to understand what Swami says through his words is that though these words have a general meaning and general import, they also have a highly contextual meaning and a highly personalized meaning as well. What I mean is, when I listen to Swami telling me something in a private interview, or possibly even in a discourse, the same words could mean something for me, it could mean something for somebody else, and it could mean a third thing for a third person. But overall, the message is general as well, and it means something for everyone. When I was studying MSc in chemistry at Prashanthi Nilayam, we had a wonderful chemistry teacher, a lecturer by name Professor Nageshwar Rao. Now, Nageshwar Rao sir had a very wonderful practice. Whenever Swami would deliver a discourse in the mandir, be it for Krishna Janmashtami or Ganesh Chaturthi or Dasara, birthday, whatever be the occasion when Swami delivers a discourse, the next day or the next class when he would come, sir would ask each one of us, we were about 20 students in the MSc chemistry class, he would ask each one of us to stand up and explain what Swami said in his discourse. Now, what was amazing about this was each one of us would get up and give an answer that was differing from the other person. For instance, somebody would get up and say that Swami spoke about the Bhutakasha, Chittakasha and Chidakasha. Then the next person would get up and say that Swami taught the intricacies of true meditation. A third person would get up and say that Swami spoke about love, while a fourth person would say that Swami explained how we should face death. For a person who didn't attend the discourse or who is not familiar with Swami, it might appear as if each of the students is giving a summary of a different discourse altogether. I remember a very beautiful personal experience. Again, this happened during my MBA days, just after I completed my MSc in chemistry. It was the October of 2005, and I was experiencing a kind of stagnation, a spiritual stagnation, if you may call it. What do I mean by this? Well, every day I would go for darshan, I would attend the bhajans, I would attend the prayer sessions in the hostel and do everything that I considered as spiritual. Yet, I was feeling bored. I was feeling stagnant. I didn't feel the vibrance that you feel with spirituality. You know, spirituality is not dull. It's full of energy, it's full of enthusiasm, it's full of dynamism, spirit. So when it starts getting boring and stagnant, you wonder whether you're doing something wrong. And so, experiencing this kind of spiritual stagnation, I wondered if there is something extra that I should do so that I feel back the energy, get back the josh and, come back to vibrance. Feel Swami, feel the connect. There are times when you feel disconnected from Swami and it's not a good feeling. Just imagine having that kind of a feeling when you are having Swami's physical darshan on a daily basis. It's terrible. And so I began to read different spiritual books, try to do something that would get back this energy. That is when I came across an experience of Ramana Maharshi. In his own words, Ramana Maharshi describes how he got that enlightenment, if we may call it so. He imagined himself to be dead. He thought that now I am a corpse, I am a dead body. There is nothing left in the body is inert. But I am not the body. I feel so vibrant. I am alive. So who am I then? If I am not the body, who am I? This is a very famous inquiry of Ramana Maharshi, and in fact there is a book as well called Nan Yar, meaning who am I? But as he experienced this, lying down, imagining him to be dead, the body is gone and yet I am vibrant, yet I am alive, he had that moment of intuition and insight where he discovered who he was. And then he says, this was not a thought. I was not consciously thinking. I was just experiencing it. It moved beyond the realm of thought to the realm of actual experience. And that moment, I felt vibrant. I felt energetic. I felt pulsating with energy. And that experience has stayed with me throughout life. Now, reading this, I got very, very inspired. I thought, let me also do this. This is the way to pulsate back with spiritual energy. And so, every night as I would go to bed, I would start doing this practice. I am a dead body now. Now this body is gone. What is happening to it? The body may be burnt, the body may be buried, but nothing happens to me. Whatever I had read from Ramana Maharshi's book. Those were the days when I used to sleep in the prayer hall in the hostel, and therefore the big altar of Swami was there, and I would keep looking at Swami's picture and keep trying to do this sadhana. A few days later, I went a step ahead in this sadhana, or the so-called sadhana that I thought would be responsible for me getting back this spiritual vibrancy. I began to think that since I am not the body, it is a body that needs air, it is a body that needs oxygen. I don't need, right? I don't need air, I don't need oxygen. So why should I breathe? And thus, I began to hold my breath. As I would sleep, as I would go to bed, I would cover myself and keep holding my breath, saying, I don't need air. Because I am not the body. I am beyond the body. I need to get that experience. Many days passed like this, and I did not get any spiritual experience. Maybe my lung capacity increased and I began to hold my breath from 40 seconds to 50 seconds, possibly more than a minute. But that's about it. I made no other progress. And then came that wonderful, amazing day, the 9th of October 2005. The previous night, I had held a personal record of mine in holding the breath at night. And it would just be, releasing the air, and I don't know, I was progressing nowhere spiritually, and I looked at Swami's picture in the altar and said, Swami, what's happening? Why am I not progressing? How should I grow spiritually? How should I feel that energy pulsating in me? Why am I feeling so dead within? This was the Dasara time, and there were daily discourses in the mandir. As I said, the next day, Swami began his discourse with a padyam. And can you believe it? Swami starts off with the words, without sleeping at night and spending the whole day in useless activities, a person thinks he is spiritually progressing. Poof! I felt like a punch on my face. Just imagine, without sleeping at night, spending the whole day in useless activity, people think this is the way to progress spiritually. The poem went on, and Swami described many other foolish things that people do, assuming that it is spirituality, but I was deaf to it because I had been given the killer knockout punch right in the beginning. Even as I heard that statement, I said, Swami, please don't mock me. I don't know what I should do. Teach me what I should do. How should I do spiritual practice? What should I do to progress? What is true spirituality? This was running in me because even now that discourse is there on the Radio Sai site. You can listen to it or you can read it in the Sathya Sai Speaks. The discourse on the 9th of October 2005. For more than the first quarter of the discourse, Swami is just speaking about what is not spirituality. Finally, when Swami revealed what is true spirituality, well, it can be a separate talk in itself, but what Swami said true spirituality is the ability to see God in everyone. To start practicing and feeling Swami in everybody and everything that we encounter in daily life. And for that, Swami said you need to do sadhana which will purify your mind. Sadhana, any kind of meditation, bhajan, seva, all of this is only to purify the mind. That's it. And with a pure mind, you will be able to have this darshan of Swami in everyone and everything. That is true sadhana. And I felt that was such a personal message for me. Now comes the very interesting part. On that day, actually, Swami had not said without sleeping at night. Swami said without doing any work and spending the whole day in useless activities. But in Telugu, Swami said panileka, meaning without work. For some reason, I heard it as pankoleka, meaning without sleeping. And as I said, after that, I tuned out because it felt like a killer punch to me. And today, I firmly believe that it was not a mistake. It was not me hearing wrongly. I heard the perfect thing that I had to hear. Because that is how Swami's discourses are delivered. Swami's discourses are delivered not only at a public scale, but for every private individual. That's why whenever we have a problem, we just have to go to Swami's discourse and hear it. And know for sure that when we are attentive and when we are tuning ourselves to Swami, He will surely give us the answer. Different answers will come from the same discourse. And the same answer will come from multiple discourses. Because Swami indeed speaks through us, through His voice. It is the avatar's voice. And that's why I say, when Swami communicates, it is definitely there at a general level, but it is also there at a personal level and a highly contextual level. Let me put it this way. Imagine you're a class teacher and you're told to take a class. And then when you go to the class, you see students who are 5 years of age and students who are 25 years of age, all of them and the entire age in between sitting in your classroom. How will you teach? One needs to learn A for apple, B for ball. The other is learning A, B, C in complex equations. How do you teach such a class? What do you talk about? That is precisely the problem Swami faces every time he gives a discourse. Because in a spiritual classroom, there are kindergarteners sitting in the same place and there are spiritually elevated souls who are possibly doing their post-graduation or PhDs sitting in the same place. And Swami's discourse has to cater to all. The KG student, the kindergarten student has to understand something, while the PG, the postgraduate student also has to take home something. And that is why when I sit and listen to Swami's discourse, it looks like a mixture of multiple topics and it appears as if Swami is jumping from theme to theme. The thing is, Swami is addressing precisely everybody's concerns. So, which part of the discourse is meant for me? Very simple. For example, there's a discourse in which Swami says, whatever you want, ask God for that. If not God, whom else can you ask? You have no right to ask anybody else. Maximum, you can accept things that your parents give you. But even from your parents, you can't demand and ask anything. You have no right to do it. But with God, you have all the right. You can demand from God. If not from God, whom else will you demand from? The same Swami in another discourse says, Adugakuve o manasa. O mind, don't ask for anything. Because if you ask, it will be denied. Just keep shut. And God will give you what is best for you. Now, what should I follow? Should I ask God for everything that I want? Or should I just shut up and trust God? The answer is simple. When you listen to both the discourses, which is the part that strikes my heart? Which is the part that resonates with my being? That is the part that is meant for me. When I listen to some words and feel enthusiasm, utsaham, when I feel the josh, when I feel the energy, I'm resonating with that. That is the message for me. I don't know which grade I am in. I don't know if I'm in first grade or fifth grade or in post-graduation. But that part of Swami's message which resonates with me is what is meant for me. And that is why it is foolish for me to go and impress on somebody else that this is the most important teaching of Swami. No. That is most important probably because I am in 6th grade. And the person that I am speaking to is possibly in 1st grade or 10th grade. Either what I am telling is very kiddish or it is something that is beyond that person's understanding. So I should not judge. I don't know. None of us know where we are on this spiritual progress. And all of us have something to gain from Swami's discourse because Swami has delivered his message for all. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.